I am so excited to be here with the Reverend and Doctor, Reverend Doctors, two Reverend Doctors, Katie and Tony Sundermeier. And I am just honored. First of all, I've known you for a couple of years. You're involved in Be the Bridge, and we've actually had dinner together. I think your group won something, and we got a chance to sit down. So I just love when there are powerful ministry couples that are doing work together, and I love the work that you guys are doing in the community here. So I wanted to bring you guys out here on this in honor of Juneteenth, to talk a little bit about just some of the resistance work that you're doing. And this is, with Juneteenth, is a time of reflection, also celebration, and there's a renewed commitment to justice. And I think the work that you guys are doing elevates just the broadness of what justice can look like. And we were just talking before where doing your part looks different for a lot of different churches. And I love how you guys have tapped into the mental health space. And I want to hear about that, that journey. This moment invites us to consider how I think other faith communities can join in this work, or find even another avenue as it relates to justice, to grapple with and to target in their community. But I think one of the beautiful things, you have looked at your community and seen the need, and you're feeling that need to the best of your ability within your congregation. So I'm excited about that. So I would love just to hear from you, Tony, what kind of led you down this pathway as a church and to form this nonprofit organization?
Yeah. Thank you for having us, and thank you for your incredible work.
Yes,
that has
thank you.
Really been a model for our congregation and little small groups and big groups.
Yeah.
Both here in Atlanta and now
I love it.
Around the country and the world. So
Right.
Thank you. We came to Atlanta from Philadelphia, and First Presbyterian Church of Atlanta has always had an outward facing focus in terms of wanting to bloom where it's planted, wanting to be able to address the needs of the most immediate community. So we stepped into a congregation that was teaching us more than we were teaching it.
Right.
But one of the things that we have found is with First Pres, being open to responding to the moment and the particular needs. And so that includes mental health care, which Katie, I know, will share a little bit about in just a few moments, with our Samaritan Counseling Center. But it also includes a robust outreach to about 2,000 people a year, most of whom are experiencing homelessness. We have 3 full-time social workers on the church staff. We have our own little sort of nonprofit that's not a separate nonprofit. It's just part of the church. 7 full-time employees in that space. We have a food market. We do IDs. We do get entitlements and benefits for people who are due to receive those. We help with housing, help with people get reacclimated after incarceration. We have a program called Redemption After Prison. It's a peer-led support group for mostly men who have come out of situations of being imprisoned. We have 9 studio apartments for women in transition that can live rent-free 6 to 12 months on our campus, and we have a case manager that works with them.
Oh my goodness.
And so an incredible sort of response right in the heart of Midtown. We're in the Arts District.
Right.
I look out and I see the arts, the High Museum of Art, right where they filmed Black Panther. I think about that often.
Right.
And so we're just trying to bloom where we're planted and live into that space. From where I think, especially as we mark Juneteenth and mark this time and hold space for this time, our goal, we're part of a historically white denomination. We come from Scotland. We're in Atlanta, where the Black church is strong and thriving. And so we want to be partners in helping to amplify Black voices. That's been our biggest goal over the last, I would say, 5 years. How do we amplify Black voices? That includes being a partner with Challenge the Stats, which is a group led by Angelica Harrison, who seeks to elevate Black artists in traditionally white spaces, particularly in classical arts. And so we're next door neighbors with the Woodruff Arts Center. So they, Challenge of Stats uses our space, and we've sponsored concerts and programming. Johnson C. Smith is the only historic Black seminary in the Presbyterian Church USA. They are now housed at First Pres, so their offices rent free. And so those kinds of opportunities. We have a group called Creating Beloved Community that is trying to stay current and relevant with all that's happening out in the world, with dialogue, fellowship, and so so we're trying to do our part,
right?
Given our own history and our own location, and we're grateful to have partners like Be the Bridge who encourage us along the way.
And just hearing you, I'm like, this is what the church is about. And I know this is what gives our community hope, because there's other churches and other pastors that are listening in to the bridging work that you're doing, and you're blooming where you are. And so, and your partner, and it's not like you're there and you're like, okay, we're here, God is here, but you're like, okay, what are the needs, and who can we partner with? With who can we elevate? Who can we amplify? And I think those are the right questions to answer. And I'm so grateful to know you. I'm just hearing, like, I'm even finding out some additional things as I'm sitting here interviewing you, and I'm like, wow, like, it gives me so much hope when there's a lot of, like, I would say grayness in the church area right now. There's a lot of people who are displeased and kind of really remorseful about some of the direction of the church. But when you hear about what's happening at First Pres, you're like, you see, God is moving. God is still moving. There's always a remnant, and you guys represent a part of that. And I would love for you to talk, Katie, just a little bit about some of the things that your church is doing as it relates to specifically mental health. And what was the maybe catalytic moment for your church to really get involved with some of the mental health, where you actually have like therapists and counselors and social workers on staff?
So, as Tony said, we inherited a congregation that's been committed to this, which is what got us to move from Philadelphia to come down here. But 26 years ago, the church decided to launch a mental health counseling center, and it's actually a separate nonprofit. It's housed in this church, and it was funded and launched by this church, but with the clear commitment in making it a separate nonprofit of saying this is absolutely for the people of First Pres and friends of First Pres, but it's also for all people of any religion or no religion, and started in this twofold mission 26 years ago that I've been the executive director for 9 years, and so we have changed and grown in a lot of ways as needed within our context, but the twofold mission has stayed the same, and that is to provide spiritually integrated psychotherapy when somebody is looking for that. And there's a lot of healing that is needed in people's religious and different experiences in that background. And there's a lot of times where when we can pair one's faith and hope and God's presence with mental health and struggles, that miracles happen. And so really creating space for that. And the other part of our mission is to provide mental health counseling for people who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it. So we see about 650 to 700 sessions a month, and 60% of those are subsidized. So we raise a lot of money to make sure that people can afford, and especially long-term care. So if you're dealing with, when we talk about injustices, that's not something that if you are trying to actually heal from some things and move forward, that's not a 6 session. That's here you go, we're done, right? So so being able to do long-term work and be able to afford it is really important to us. So
well, I tell you one thing, on this Juneteenth, with everything that's happening in culture, sitting down having a conversation with you and what your church is doing has brought a lot of hope to me. And we were just talking about like everybody just doing their part, and those parts look different. A lot of times we feel like everyone's part has to look the same, and it doesn't. And if you look at any social movements, what you're doing is a lifestyle. It's not just a movement. For one thing, you're carrying on the legacy that was left from the leaders of the church who started the church, but also you're continuing this long line of people who have contributed to this lifestyle and to this movement in various ways, you know. That's the thing that I recognize is the beauty. You're gonna sometimes have people on the front lines. You're gonna have sometimes people in the corporate offices, but it all makes sense and it's all needed. And so I'm grateful for First Pres and the work that you're doing. Keep it up. This is how we show the world how to do bridging, and you're doing it right here where you're planted. So I know there are going to be pastors that are listening to this. They're going to be like, okay, how do we get a blueprint? How did y'all start this? We need this, especially right now with so much going on. Like, mental health is so important because, you know, without it, you know, it can create a sense of hopelessness. And when you have hopelessness, you have lawlessness. And, you know, and so I think those are some of the things that we have to remember in our society, that we are called to care for the marginalized. And I think First Pres is remembering that. So thank you so much. I would love to just right off, you know, I like to sometimes just, if I feel like, what is a scripture that like kind of helps guide you, you know, in the work you're doing, especially when it gets difficult and hard, you know, what is something that's kind of guiding you? Okay.
I'm going to share.
Okay.
And anything can be edited.
Okay.
And you can have a minute to think. But one of the things, especially in my work with the Counseling Center, in this past year that has guided me is, let us not grow weary in doing what is good.
So
and another translation, let us not grow weary in doing what is right.
Right.
And I, just speaking with Be the Bridge, about 4 years into my work as the director of this counseling center, was COVID in 2020. And that's when I started my first Be the Bridge group via Zoom due to COVID. And one of the things that most impacted me then in my work back in the center came out of one of those small groups. And we were talking about something hard that was going on around racial injustice. And I was sharing, as somebody who has childhood abuse in my background, that oftentimes when these difficult times come, I just freeze. Like, I just have to, I don't do anything. I have to just, you know. And one of the women I'd come to know and appreciate, who was Black, said to me, that's a privilege, you know? And she wasn't, she was very gentle because she understood where it was coming from for me. But to recognize in the work that we do, in all the ways that we're called, there's always a way that we can respond, you know, and that in the mental health field where we're trying to not grow weary and keep doing what is good and right, the more that we can figure out what that looks like for us, and as a white person in that context, to not think, well, I don't know what to do, but to do something. So thank you for Be the Bridge.
I love it. I love it.
What's your verse?
Well, this is a dangerous question, asking somebody who likes to preach 23-minute sermons.
I know. I got two Reverend Doctors. Okay.
I think for me, multiple texts came in, but I think the one that's most resonant for what we're marking today and what we're holding space for today is John 11, when Jesus is outside of the tomb of Lazarus and he calls Lazarus, come out, and Lazarus comes out. And the end of the story in John 11 is that John says that Jesus said that to the people that were there, unwrap him and let him go. And that's a comical situation, right? Because here's Lazarus coming out in the burial clothes. I don't know if he rolled out or he hopped out or how to get out.
Probably smelling a little
exactly.
bit.
4 days he's been dead. And the people just go nuts. They're like, the hits just keep coming with this Jesus guy, right? Like, unbelievable. And they're so enthralled about him being raised from the dead. They don't take off his burial clothes.
Right.
They don't take off the dead man clothes. And I think part of what you do, part of what we do, and the work that we're mutually sharing together is helping people take the dead man clothes off their eyes so they can see the image of God in the other, or take it off the hands so that they can serve and wash feet. Take it off the heart to be moved by the things God is moved about. So I think that's our principal work, is helping people get, Jesus raises people to new life, but we help people get untied so they can be the people God's called them to be.
So good. Well, thank you so much.
You.
It's been good to have you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Same. Thank you.